Superhero hot takes. The thing that makes all comic book fans go from this to this. But why is that, and what is a hot take? Maybe you need a refresher, or maybe you're my mom watching my YouTube videos and I need to better assert my premise. A hot take is an opinion on a piece of media, positive or negative, that seems to go against what the mass majority consensus seems to be about said project. For example, most of the general audience will say the Superman movie from 2025, directed by James Gunn, is a great Superman film that got people excited about the character again, and the hot take from the other side, the people that don't agree with this, would be that it's a bad interpretation of Superman and it makes Superman worse. Kind of like when you're hanging out with your friend group and you're all talking shit about that one person, and then Becky all of a sudden chimes in and goes, "That person's not that bad. They only stole your date to prom." That is a hot take. I myself not only have a good many hot takes on superhero content, but I also share them every day on my TikTok, on my Instagram page, which you should follow me at if you're not. I ask you guys for your superhero hot takes that we can read here together, react to, and just see how wild you little nerds are. I want to thank Living Buckets on TikTok for giving me this idea. Thank you so much. I've picked a few of them today, guys. A lot of you sent me a lot of them over Instagram, TikTok, Discord, whatever, but I've picked just a few today. I would like to make this an ongoing series if you guys would like to keep seeing it. So if you like what you're seeing, please support, like, comment, all that good stuff, and let's get into some of these hot takes. Unfortunately, The Incredibles is still the best Fantastic Four movie. This one really got me thinking because I've genuinely liked most of the Fantastic Four movies that we've gotten in live action, except Fant4stic. I don't like Fant4stic. Nobody should watch Fant4stic. With all that being said, after giving it some thought, I do agree with this hot take. I get it. The Incredibles are not actually the Fantastic Four, but they do have that dynamic of being a family with supernatural powers that fight evil together. And there's literally 4 of them. First Incredibles movie in particular, I think hits all the points that every Fantastic Four movie wanted to before and has wanted to since, and even does that like retro futuristic style much better than Fantastic Four First Steps. This is a 5 out of 5 hot take. Y'all are killing it with these. MCU as a whole has less than 10 bad projects and less than 5 bad movies. This one really intrigued me because I do agree to an extent. The MCU has had this weird turning coat phenomenon with a bunch of fans, kind of like how we did with Nickelback back in the day, where everybody was listening to Nickelback, but all of a sudden it became the cool thing to hate on them. We used to kiss the ground that the MCU walked on. Every movie everybody was excited about. There was something fun and something genuinely exciting with every new release. And all of a sudden we act like it's bad, and it's been bad since Endgame, and that's just not true. One, MCU has always had ups and downs. For every Iron Man, there's a Thor 2. For every Captain America Winter Soldier, there's an Ant-Man 2. For every Infinity War, there's a Spider-Man Far From Home. Marvel really just can't figure out these sequels, can they? But I do agree with this because overall, I think Marvel has put out some great content, and I think overall, at minimum, every single Marvel project that we have ever gotten, for the most part, has been at minimum pretty good. Honestly, I can't knock this hot take. I genuinely agree with you, and I think at one point everybody agreed with you. It just became the cool thing to hate on the MCU. Robin and Flash deserve a place on the Mount Rushmore of superheroes, and I will die on this hill. This genuinely is a hot take, I would say. I agree with half of it, honestly. I think Robin definitely deserves a spot on the Mount Rushmore of superheroes in certain contexts. I would almost argue that in DC, for sure, he deserves a spot on the Mount Rushmore of superheroes. But that being said, when it comes to the Flash, while I do think Barry Allen, Wally West, I'm not sure which Flash we're talking about, while the Flash as a hero has like had this big cultural impact, I don't think it's as big as someone even like a Robin that you're lumping him in with here. Honestly, this is like a 5 out of 5 hot take. I really like this one. That's a good one. Captain America Brave New World is a great movie. If you need to know one thing about me, it's that I love Captain America. Sam Wilson in particular is my favorite Captain America. I will do anything that man ever asked me to do. When I saw this hot take come in, I immediately got to thinking about it because I do enjoy Brave New World more than most people around me. As much as I love Captain America, I've got to disagree. And I'm sorry because I'm the Captain America guy, especially Sam Wilson. I love Sam Wilson as Captain America. This movie did not do him the justice that Sam Wilson so terribly deserves. I did have a great time with this movie. I've probably watched this movie more out of all the superhero movies that came out in 2025, but that's because it's a personal preference of mine that I love this character, but even I can sit here and recognize this is not as good as Captain America, the First Avenger. This is not as good as Captain America Winter Soldier. This is not as good as Civil War. It doesn't even come close to those films. But it is a fun film that I had a great time with, and I think, one, if this movie wouldn't have gotten reshot to hell, or they would put in the same amount of love and care and writing into these films for Sam Wilson as they did for Steve Rogers, we would have something special. Sam Wilson has such a rich history within the comics that I think it is deserved to be seen on screen. And not only does it deserve to be seen on screen, but Sam Wilson deserves for people to see it, and audience deserve to experience the greatness that is Sam Wilson. With all that being said, I can't agree that Brave New World was a great movie, because I think it was a really pretty good movie that really could have been a great movie. Yo, Alex, I have a hot take. I think Avengers MCU films from Secret Wars and now onward shouldn't be an epic visual spectacle event, big budget thing about saving the entire Earth or universe. Instead, it should be laid back, relaxed, regular yearly releases focusing on similar things like saving the city or a team bonding more. You know, like reminiscing on Earth's Mightiest Heroes TV show and the Justice League Unlimited. This is my favorite out of the hot takes that I've read today, because I agree with this 100%. Comic book movies should be based on the comics, and in the comics, not every single adventure these heroes go on have to be earth-shattering, have to be the United States going to war, have to be the universe at stake, have to be multiversal dimension hopping. I think this is a 5 out of 5 hot take. I just think that it's never going to happen because the regular, like, everyday moviegoers, the mass public, has become accustomed to these big Skybeam CGI fights, and studios know that that's what's going to sell the tickets, and unfortunately that's what we're going to keep getting. Thank you very much for everyone who sent in their hot takes. If you want to see more videos like this, 1, I don't know why. 2, like, comment, share. Tell me if this should be an ongoing series. And until the next video, like my mother always used to say, Alex, don't you already have that comic book? You have Captain America comic books. Why are you buying another one? And I would respond, Mother, it's a different comic book. And she would say, I can't tell, they all look the same.